So hey, how's it going, guys? So for today's video, I thought we would do inside. We'd do like a little bit of a kind of a tool review type of kind of thing. The weather's kind of not good where I'm at right now. It's real windy outside and this, that, and the other, and they're talking about storms. So we're gonna not do anything outside today. Instead, I thought what we would kind of do is talk about some tools, various tools that I used to use a lot back in the day. So, if you watched my last short, you've seen that I was doing a little bit of car cleaning, just a little quick tip type thing or how to, whatever you want to call it. So, I thought that we might talk about some kind of basic tools that I think that people would need and should use when detailing a car, especially if you're very adamant about cleaning your car. So for some of y'all who know me, you know some of the careers that I've gone through, some of the hobbies that I've done over my lifetime. We'll call them hobbies and not careers. But for the ones that don't know me, I used to be an automotive detailer. I worked in the automotive detailing industry for about plus or minus about 6 to 8 years. Seen a lot of different things, some older stuff, some newer stuff. I've seen a lot of stuff come and go as far as detailing products and cleaning supplies and tools and this, that, and the other. Most of it hasn't really changed throughout the years. But knowing what I know from all those past times and trying to keep up with current stuff, especially for my own vehicles, because as you know, I have 2 cars myself, plus my kid's dirt bike, plus other stuff that I try to keep clean. So I thought that's what we would do today. Maybe you're not really big into cleaning cars, but maybe there's something in your car, like your carpets or something, that has really bugged you for a while. Or when you do clean your car, it's kind of difficult because you didn't know that there was a tool that might help you out with this scenario. So like I said, we're going to get into it. I'm going to flip this camera around. I've got a table set up here in my kitchen. And we're just going to walk through a couple of tools. Some tools I don't have here on site, so we'll kind of talk about it. You can always research them. By all means, I recommend doing that. But at least let's get through what I have here. And we'll talk about the tools, what I recommend, and some tools that I don't have here, and some tools that some of you guys might not even know is a thing. So let me flip this camera around, get you set up, and we'll get started. So quickly, one thing I do want to touch on, I don't currently have it here with me, but I don't think this one is, I think it's important to what we're talking about, but I don't think it's a big deal that I have one to show you guys, because most of you is going to know what it is, or know somebody that has one, which is a shop vac. I think a good shop vac or an old household vacuum that you could actually just detach the hose from, and you could use it. I think those are very important when it comes to automotive detailing. So one of the things I wanted to kind of pick up on when it comes to carpets, especially in the vacuuming aspect of it, is that when you vacuum your carpets and you're trying to get it all clean, you always notice, no matter what you do, there always seems to be a little bit of residual dirt and dust left over at the end of it. So one of the things I have that they used to be a little bit harder to get, now they're much easier to obtain. I know like places like Walmart, Menards, local automotive parts houses, things of that nature. Places like this do have them available. I picked this particular kit up. I don't have them all here with me, but I did pick this kit up off of Amazon years ago, and I think back then they weren't very expensive. You could get a pretty decent sized kit for about anywhere from $8 to about $20, depending on how big of a kit and how ornate you go. But one of the kit that I'm referring to are drill brushes. So what these basically do, these are kind of dirty and they're beat up. I apologize. They are used. They're not just new stuff that I pulled out. But what these do, and I'll pull out a couple of these here and show you the different styles that you can get, just as a few examples here. So basically what you do is you hook these up to a drill, and you basically just lightly brush it or drill over top of your carpet like this with it, and that helps loosen up dirt. Now you can do that dry, but the problem that I've kind of encountered over the years is because obviously not all carpets and cars are equal as far as how they're made, and then also they're not equal as in the sense of you don't know if there's everybody's carpet's going to be different. You're going to have soda stains, coffee stains, various other stains that we won't mention. And yes, I have had those before. I've had human stains in vehicles that I've had the unfortunate experience of having to clean up. But yeah, so what I always recommend doing is taking like some soapy water or a little bit of degreaser, and you don't want to soak the floor. You just want to kind of lightly dampen it, just enough to where there's something for this to kind of as like a I don't know the right word, something to help keep it from biting in, because when you use this on dry carpet, it just kind of wants to dig like this, and from the speed of the drill, it will actually start to burn down these right here, and then you get like little black ends on it where it's literally melting this, because all this is nylon. It's basically a thicker version of a toothbrush, essentially. So you would use like this one. It's a much larger one. I think it's about 3 inches in circumference. You would just use that on like your open spaces. Then they have a smaller one for those little tinier places. Then we have one like this, which is kind of tapered, kind of like a cone. You would use this for more like in the corners that you can't get a flat surface on. So, like in the back floorboard, when you step in, it's kind of curved right there. This would be perfect for that. Or little tight places around like your kick panels and this, that, and the other. This is also another good option for those corners, because then you can just kind of bump it up against it. Like if that's the corner, you can just kind of bump it up, or you can just kind of go in like this or whatever. Now, I will say I have used these for more than just carpet cleaning. I have also used these. I don't recommend using them on plastic. There are some that are various grades that you can get. Some are rough, some are coarse, some are fine. Just make sure you read your description, because each color represents a different grade as far as the roughness of the bristles or how soft they are. So like your yellows are kind of a light to medium. The blue, at least in this case, is kind of a coarse one, like a medium to a heavy, as an example. But the yellow ones is what I use on carpets. The blue one, this is one that I just recently got. I have not used it yet, but I had it, so I figured I'd throw it up here on the table. You can also use these for like underneath the hood. So a great example of that would be like this one that's contoured. You could use it down where your fender seams are, where you have your bolts down through there. You could use it around the back of your plastic panel where your drip rail and wiper blades are, things of that nature. Then of course you could use something like this for if you have the plastic cover over top of your engine. You could this would be great to get down in tight areas of an engine bay, what have you. Like I said, they're really inexpensive, and for whatever reason, a lot of people don't seem to know about these, and I'm actually quite surprised that people don't know about these. They're very universal when it comes to using them. All you got to do is just have a drill. They all have the little hexed head style to attach into a drill, or like a home style impact, not like a wheel impact. But yeah, you kind of get the gist there. Kind of keeping with that theme of brushes and whatnot. I didn't find these until I knew about them, but I never found them locally anywhere until years later. And I wish I would have had more of these when I was in actually doing automotive detailing as a professional. Um, Again, I've worked for some independent companies that are just local shops around my area. I also have worked for bigger known companies that are associated with rather large car companies. Out of respect for myself and for the other companies, the bigger car industries that I have worked for in the past, I won't mention their name just because I don't want to create any type of legal issue or anything like that. Not that I think that there would be, but I just don't want to. I don't want to throw anybody out there that I don't have to. So anyway, one of the things I'm talking about are these brushes right here. You can get these in various styles. They all come in different sizes. You can get them really, really tiny to where they look like paint brushes. All the way up to a rather large one like this is about the size of a silver dollar. And what these are good for is, depending on which one you get, I should point that out too, you can get these in various styles of bristle. So they make these in plastic, like a nylon, the same as these right here. They also make these, like the ones that I currently have here. It's a type of hair. I want to say it might be like, don't quote me on this. I think that they listed it as like horsehair, like some type of hair or fur or whatever. But basically, what these are good for is for getting into really tight areas. So if you were trying to do like your vents or around the steering column, or most cars anymore, they all have their little brand on the steering wheel, such as like my cars. I have my Nissan, I have my Toyota. They both have their emblems on the steering wheel, on the horn button, so you could kind of scrub around that. If you have a floor shifter like in my Toyota, there's a lot of crevices, or even in my Nissan has the floor shifter option, so this would be great for little tight areas that you really want to get down in there deep with. Again, they make these in various sizes. I didn't find these anywhere local for many, many years until I went to a local auto parts store and I happened to find them there. Again, you can get those in various sizes and shapes. Depending on what your needs are, they'll range anywhere from about $8, again, up to about 20. I have seen some of the higher end ones go for about $30 to $45. So it's just kind of about shopping around at that point. Another style of, I don't have the exact one here, so I'm going to have to use one that I would not recommend using this one, but this is just an example. They do make brushes like this. This is a wire one, so again, ignore that, but they do make this style here as a nylon, and that would be good for, up inside of fender wells or this, that, or the other, or down in engine bays. You could use something like this. I would not use it as the metal one, like this one. I would definitely, if you were going to try to attempt to use a metal one, say like on your inner fender, use something softer like a nylon and or like a brass brush, depending on your circumstances. So like, as an example, if you had road paint up inside your fender wells, obviously using a nylon brush isn't going to get you anywhere. So something like this and a brass style brush, and not going real heavy at it, like don't dig into it, but just kind of lightly go over the surface of it. That would help out tremendously on getting that paint off. Just a couple of different brushing options for you. I think those three things right there would be very good if you were trying to get a really good detailed option. Also, even for carpets, if you want to, I like to drill brushes. I think it makes life a little bit easier. But you could always hand brush it with like that metal brush that I just showed you, but of course in the nylon version. Kind of keeping with that theme of brushes and vacuums, I think for shop vacs overall, when you buy a shop vac, or even if you're having to use a regular vacuum, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. You're limited to the options that you have that come with that vacuum to be able to utilize it to its utmost potential. So kind of getting back to the aspect of more tools, I found this kit. I've had multiples like this over the years. This one is a new one for me. I think this is something that everybody should consider for as a cleaning accessory. And this one here is micro cleaning tools, or what I refer to as crevice tools. So basically, you have this really large adapter here, and then in the end of it, you can basically adapt it to all these right here. So you basically attach this to your actual vacuum, and then you have the smaller end that all these attachments here will stick to. And these are great, like this that has the nylon brush on it. I know that's kind of terrible to see. I can see the glare on the video right now. But like I said, you have like extension tools like this. You have curved ones. You have another flat one. And then like this is one I use the most. I haven't used this one a whole lot yet, but again, I think this is one of my most used tools just because I think it's a kind of a lifesaver for me. And it's basically like a little micro brush for the end of the vacuum. Actually, you can see I've already used it because there's a little bit of dirt right there. But that's great for like running across vents in tight areas like around your shifters. If you have a floor shifter, or even if you don't, very tight areas to get to, this is kind of a lifesaver. It will make life so much easier for you, and it's a whole lot better than spraying your vents down with soapy water and or degreaser and then having to sit there and kind of wipe it out. So yeah, I think something like this is a really good option. There's a whole world of aftermarket attachments that you could look at. This is just one that I happen to have, and I definitely recommend looking into something like this just for those hard to get to areas. So kind of sticking with that concept of what we were just talking about, obviously I don't have one big enough here, or rather I don't have one small enough to bring in here to be able to show you guys a good air compressor. And I'm not talking about like one of those ones that you add the air to the tank and then you take it and you air up your tire. I'm talking about like either an actual tiny air compressor, or if you have it already, a large compressor with a what they refer to as a blowgun on the end of it. Of course, unfortunately, I don't have any of that I brought in with me. But basically, it's just a little simple air attachment that allows you to blow air out, and that's great, especially for around steering columns, inside of vents, this, that, and the other. That way, when you're spraying it out and you're wiping it, or if you're brushing it, so if you spray and you're brushing out your car vent, you can take you a little bit of air and hold you a rag over it or whatever, and then kind of tuck that little air nozzle in behind it, shoot some air into it, and that allows all that dirt and soapy water or degreaser to shoot back onto a rag or a towel or what have you. So that is also a really great option. If you don't have that, I think that's where that tiny little attachment I just showed you is a phenomenal option. Because again, if you don't have an air compressor and you don't have a blowgun, tiny air tanks usually range somewhere. They start out at about $50 to $60, and they go up depending on the brand, what retailer is carrying them, this, that, and the other. So again, if you don't have one, that little bristle attachment for a vacuum is a great option. Otherwise, I would highly recommend using the air solution. You can try compressed air. I don't know how well it works. Again, when I started out in the detailing industry, that's pretty much what we did. Was we would use an air compressor and a blowgun, blow out the vents, this, that, and the other, get in those tight areas. We also used them to blow out from underneath the seats and those hard to reach areas, so that it was easier for us to be able to get the cars as clean as possible. So yeah, just some food for thought. Take it for what it's worth. Obviously, the next thing that I'm going to show you, I know it's kind of common sense, but not a lot of people really think about this. I don't feel like a lot of people think about this when doing something like car detailing. And what I want to talk about is a good microfiber towel. I have seen people use everything from shop rags to old ripped up T-shirts. If you can imagine it as a cleaning cloth, somebody has used it, and I have probably seen somebody use it. Now, what I want to kind of get to here is if you look at, if I fold this out here, and I bring you guys in a little bit like this, just to get you a little bit better of a view here, you will notice all the edges of this all the way around are actually kind of tethered a little bit. And that's because there's not any stitching or hard edge on this. And also, if we fold it over, you'll see that the material on the back is kind of different. I've already used this one. It was just the most closest one for me to pick up, so it has been used. But this is kind of more of a fluffier side, to where this one is more of a softer woven side, if you will. But the point is there's no hard borders. There's nothing that's been sewn together. And also, if you notice on this, I'll show you this side. You can kind of see all the way around that diameter there. But also, if I flip it around like this, you'll also see on this one all the way around the perimeter of it. There's one thing missing off of this that most shop towels that you find now have, and it's kind of problematic. And I'll explain why. The thing that is missing from this, not only the rough bordered edges, is there's no tag on this, which is actually problematic on a couple of aspects if you think about it. A tag is a completely different type of material that, when rubbed across paint, as an example, if you're buffing your car and you use a microfiber and it has a little tag on it, that tag is most likely, and I will throw this out there, on darker colored cars like black, dark blue, reds, anything that really is prone to showing scratches, that little tag on there is gonna scratch that car, and you're gonna see it, and that's quite problematic. Which is why when there was a couple of shops that I worked in, and when I did, they would have the little tags on it, and if that tag hit that car, then it was gonna scratch it. So I found these. I think I got these at a local retailer. I always check to make sure that they don't have like little tags or the hard borders, because I have found the ones that have the hard borders that are stitched could also scratch surfaces, like your paint surfaces on your car. So if you can find them without the tags and without the borders, that's great. If you can't and you do choose to use that, the one thing I recommend is don't cut your tag off, rip your tag off. It will not hurt your microfiber in any way, shape, or form. But just know you still, if you have those hard borders, this is what I would do. I would take it, I would fold it in half like this. That way you have this right here, a much wider surface. You still have the corner here and up here, but that's a much wider surface that you won't have that hard border on that could potentially damage your paint or your clear coat rather, which is just going to make your job a little bit harder, because then if you're really working to clean your car, you're not going to want you're not going to work really hard to clean a car and then have scratches, because then you're going to have to go back and clean those up. So when talking about, since we're already on that subject of it, actually before I talk about that, I want to show I think it's an obvious key factor, but again, not everybody thinks about this, and I completely understand that. There's a lot of times I forget stuff. So we talked about shop backs and a few other various tools, but all of these require electricity, such as the air compressor and your shop vac. And the very next tool that I want to talk about after this one is actually requires power tool. So I think it's very important, and I think it's in an automotive type setting, it might be something that you overlook quite often, is a good extension cord. The one that I'm currently showing you, it's about 150 foot long. It gives me plenty of range to be able to get around a car all four corners, and I don't have to unplug it, move it, unplug it, move it, this, that, and the other. Most people are only going to need about 50 foot of cord, because then of course all your your corded accessories are going to have a certain amount of cord length to them already. So then they average about 8, or well, I should say about 6 to 10, somewhere in there. Some of them are a lot shorter than that, in the range of 4 to 6 foot long, or not even that. Some of them are about 4 foot long. Other ones will range, such as most shop vacs, will range to about a 10 foot, 8 to 10 foot cord. But a good extension cord I think it's a very important key factor. If you look back at a lot of my older videos, you will see this drop cord in quite a few videos. I use this thing all the time. I picked this up at a local Walmart a few years ago, and again, that's a 150 foot cord, and I think I paid $20 for it, which was a phenomenal price compared to other retailers that I've looked at, where a 150 foot cord is going to vary significantly. You're talking anywhere in the neighborhood of like $30 and up. But again, when it comes to a drop cord, you also need to consider the thickness of it, because each one is rated at a different gauge rating. The higher the gauge of cord, essentially overall, and I might kind of say this wrong, but it's the best way I can describe it. If you have a 16 gauge cord, it's not going to be able to carry the load of a 8 or a 10 or a 12 gauge cord. So the lower the number, the thicker that this diameter of wire is inside of it, meaning it can carry a heavier load. It can take a lot more. Again, I think this one is a 10 to 12 gauge cord, and it works phenomenal. I have used this on everything. I've used it with welders. I've used it with vacuums, lights. You think of it, I've used it. So I think this is something that everybody should consider if you don't already have one, especially for cleaning cars. Now, getting back to the point of what we were just kind of talking about, it kind of covers two areas in this particular circumstance. Of one, we were talking about corded power tools, and then we were also talking about the microfiber towel, in the sense of it scratching your car, which you don't necessarily only have to use this for car scratches. You can use this for a lot of things, but I think something that is very important would be a really good buffer, an orbital buffer at that. Orbital meaning that, I don't know if I can get this one to do it and pick up on camera. It basically has a little bit of wobble to it, so it's never centered. You can actually see if I push it, I can push this thing all the way around. It's kind of, it looks like it's making an oblong shaped hole. Orbital and variable speed. I think those are the two most important things when it comes to buffers. So as an example, if we look at this one, right here on the trigger, I know that's going to be hard to kind of pick up, but that is actually a little selector there for your speed, so it can slow this thing down or make it go faster. On the side here, it also has a little button, so when you pull the trigger back, you hit that, it locks that trigger in. When you don't want it no more, you just, and then your trigger comes back, push it in, hold that, and then you get a little less fatigue out of it, because holding that trigger and doing an entire car like this with that handle, your hands will start to kind of tingle and start to go numb. So I think an orbital polisher or buffer, whatever you prefer to call it, I think those are very important, especially when it comes to your paint care. More often than not, like I said, you're not really hurting your paint, you're you're not correcting your paint per se. You're correcting your clear coat. Now I have seen and I have done some cars in the past when I worked in that industry that they would come in and their cars would just be dull, like super dull. I mean, they would look like this drop cord here. Like when you pull in, I mean, you can see a little glare on that still, but I mean, this in life, this cord is quite dull and flat. And that's not to say that the clear coat is missing. Like you don't see it flaking off. You don't see that white hue in patches or this, that, or the other. It's just that their car's like super flat, dull colored. And there are some things that you can use for that to bring the life back to that paint. In most cases, those are honestly, they're usually like a temporary solution. They're not a long-term fix. It's usually because your clear coat is either completely gone or it's to the point that it's so thin that there's not a lot actually protecting the paint at that point. So it's so flat, and then when you buff it out or use a compound on it, is what I should say, it will embed that compound into the paint and it will bring it to a really nice shine to where it looks like a brand new paint job again. Over a course of time, usually within probably about 6 months to a year, depending on how your car is stored and how often you're driving it. If it's stored outside and it's always in the weather elements, being rain, snow, this, that, and the other, eventually it's just going to slowly absorb that. And to do those cars takes hours, and I have tried to attempt to do those by hand a few times. It usually doesn't work out. You will wear your arms out quick trying to do that. So a buffer in that sense, or polisher, whatever you prefer to call it, is a great solution to that problem. Now here's the key factor when it comes to a polisher. You can have the biggest, baddest, best brand polisher in the world, but ultimately I think in my personal experience, it's less about the polisher and it's more about the pads. So as an example, I have this red pad here. This came with this. I actually have two of them. This is just a simple polish pad. So you would put your wax on it, and that's just like your final step type of thing. But then if I bring these over here, I'll show you a few more examples. Let me get the polisher and kind of push it out of the way for a moment. Now I've just brought a whole different element to the table because I've introduced new factors to you. And I know it looks like these three are basically the exact same thing. They're just a different color, but that's actually not the case. Each one of these does a different thing. Yes, they all do have the honeycomb grid pattern to them, but each one of these represents something different. So, if I actually show you here, and I keep them in these boxes, I just happen to be using that one recently. So you can see this blue one is actually a finish pad. This white one, which has not gotten used a lot, but I have used it, is a polish pad. And then this one here is a buffing pad. And then of course this is just a simple polish pad, the same, or wax pad I should say. So yes, depending on what you're trying to do, if you're trying to remove scratches or if you're just trying to get a nice shine to your car, if you're just trying to get a nice shine to your car, then you could just have this simple foam, bare bones basic. It's very, very soft, and that'll throw your wax on and you're done. If you're working with more of like, again, this is also a polish pad, so this basically does the exact same that this does. This one is more or less like it's a light to medium. I don't remember the exact description that they put it under, but basically this is for removing scratches. Light to semi-medium, I guess we should say. Clear coat scratches, this is what you would use. The blue one here is actually a finish pad, meaning that that would be your very last step of what you would use before you put your wax on. But yeah, so as you can see, I mean, and this is just a few examples. There's a whole world of different types of pads that you can get for a buffer, depending on your needs. I don't have one to full scale with me at the moment, but I will show you this as well. Again, this one is used, as is all my stuff. This one has actually been used within the past couple of days, so it's not perfectly cleaned. This is a wool pad, and what I have seen people do with this, I have seen actually like what I was describing, where people bring in cars, or they have cars that the clear coat is basically non-existent, and their paint is very, very matte, flat kind of thing, because there is no clear coat on it. I've seen them take these with a cutting compound, and just this absorbs compound very, very well, and it helps to kind of spread it around on surfaces like that, so that it can help it embed into the paint. Now, chances are, like you see this one has a kind of a red hue to it. It's because I was using it on a red paint job, something similar to that recently, and it shows how little clear coat was actually on that car, because it actually started to come off onto the pad itself. They do make that to full size for buffers like that. I just don't currently have mine. This one is for like a little drill type of thing. Again, a whole world of buffers and polishers and what have you. And depending on where you get them at, I think I picked this one up at a local retailer. This one's called My Rod. I picked this up at a local retailer. It's a 6-inch orbital polisher. I think it's somewhere in the neighborhood of like $40, plus or minus. I think I might have got it on sale for like $35. But again, and then kind of rolling with the theme of polishers, this is a little bit more, I would recommend doing more research on it, because I don't have all the examples here. We're just going to quickly cover it. Is the different types of compounds and polishes and what have you. So you can see I have like 3 different brands right here. I just grabbed what I could. I don't have a brand preference. I'm not sponsored by any of these brands. These are just the ones that I happen to have laying around or have access to. Each one of these kind of does a different type of thing. So if we eliminate this for a minute, because this is actually a polish. If we look at these are both for removing scratches with. So you can see this one says clear cut. It's a correction compound. So this one would be for swirls and scratches, and I think it's for light to medium. And then if we move over to this one here, being the Meguiar's, it says the Professional Fine Cut Cleaner. This one is for, it basically removes like swirls and very, very fine light scratches that like you're having to hold a flashlight over it to basically see it. So yeah, again, anyway, there's different types of compounds. There's fine, like the Meguiar's one here, it's fine. This one is a paint correction. It does kind of a medium. So this would do really fine scratches to like swirls. If you ever step back in the sunlight and you look at like a hood of a car as an example, and it kind of looks like there's a spider web over the entire thing, this would take care of that. If you look at a lot of car doors as an example, and you look near the key lock, you'll see where people have, I'm sure not intentionally, but they'll put their key in, and sometimes they'll miss the little key lock on the side of their door, and there'll be some scratches in there. This would be better for that. Now again, looking at that aspect of it, I will throw this into the mix just since we're already kind of at that point. talking about in tight areas like underneath the door handles, this, that, and the other. Obviously, you cannot get an orbital polisher into tight, tiny areas. To which at that point, I would definitely recommend getting something like this. This is just a little wax pad, a little polish pad, just to get into those little tight areas, or tight, tiny spaces that you really, really need to work into. So like if I was trying to get in here, I mean, because most door handle areas are kind of like that. You're not getting a polisher in there, so you could take this and you could kind of get inside there and around here, and you can contour it because it's all foam. So, and it's a microfiber finish on it, so that would be great for that. Again, each one of these compounds does a different thing, so obviously read your bottles. But to get away from that aspect of it, this happens just to be the only one that I have. This is a car polish. It's kind of like one of those final step type processes. Again, there is an entire process depending on your circumstances for your car. If you're trying to remove scratches, if you're trying to bring back the paint life, or if you're trying to basically make your car look super clean and shiny, in the sense of like you're trying to wax it to help protect that clear coat and that paint finish. This is just another example of that. Again, all of these type of items can be picked up at your local retailers. They can also be picked up off of Amazon, this, that, and the other. You can definitely shop around and get the best price that you possibly can. There's a whole world of different companies. Again, like you see, this is New Finish, this is Meguiar's. Chemical Guys, I highly recommend them. No, I'm not sponsored by any of these people, but I love Chemical Guy car care products. There's also other ones like Turtle Wax. They have a whole different line of stuff. Meguiar's has a whole car care line. There's just a whole world of car care products out there. And of course, you're gonna like what you like, not based on brand, but based on what you pick up. And it's kind of, unfortunately, the truth is that there is a trial by fire, if you will, in a sense of, if you've never tried Car Guys as an example, even though I like them, and if I say, hey, go get Chemical Guys car care products, and then you try it and it doesn't necessarily get the result that you like, then you're like, well, that here I am looking at your content, you're recommending this car. I'm not recommending any of these specific brands. I'm just showing you examples of what you can expect to find in the car care world. Again, each company usually has an entire line of different products, all the way from buffing chemicals or cleaning chemicals such as degreasers, window cleaners, this, that, and the other. Definitely check them out. Back to the interior aspect of it, there is a couple of different ways that I have learned to do this over the years. It's kind of one of those overcome and adapt type of situations, if you will. There are a couple of different ways you can do this, but I'm going to show you obviously the best way, and then I'll tell you the alternative that I have found, or that I have personally done in the past. I use it as a kind of a last ditch resort, if you will. But I think everybody, and again, yes, this is used, so it's not perfectly clean. You see me use this in my last video. This is just a little spot shampooer. It's currently all I do have. There's a whole world of shampooers out there. I think some type of carpet shampooer is a great alternative. Of course, you have your dirty tank, which is why this one is nice and dirty. You also have your solution tank right here. You just simply fill it up with whatever you prefer. I have seen, and I have personally tried multiple different solutions on vehicles in the past. I have done everything from a 1-to-1 or 50-50 solution of soap and water. I have done a 50-50 solution of heavy grade degreaser such as Purple Power and water. as a 50-50 solution. I have actually ran through this, and I actually run it through it to clean out the sprayer line. I usually do like usually about a 60-40 solution of vinegar to water, and that helps just clean out the lines a little bit from all the residual soap and degreasers and this, that, and the other that you run through your sprayers. But either way, shampooer I think is a very great solution. It definitely will. It's a time saver. It makes your life a whole heck of a lot easier when it comes to cleaning carpets. Now, with the alternative of that, which I was referring to earlier, it's kind of a last ditch type of thing that you can attempt to do. Just know I'm just telling you this for entertainment purposes. I'm not by any means telling you to do this in any way, shape, or form, because if you do it at your own risk. I do not want to be responsible for you guys doing this, overdoing it, and then coming at me saying, well, you told me to do this. I'm not telling you to do this. I'm just telling you this for food for thought. Again, do it at your own risk, which is basically if you take a spray bottle and you fill that up with soap and water or degreaser and water or whatever, spray your carpets with it, scrub it real good, and then take a shop vac, not a house vac, a shop vac, because all shop vacs are considered wet, dry vacuums, meaning that if they get water inside of them, it will not hurt them. If you don't have a shampooer, but you do have a shop vac, you can spray a solution over your carpets with a spray bottle, scrub them real good, and then take your shop vac and go over with it. It will do a reasonably decent job of getting the water out. However, it will not do as good as a shampooer as far as extracting the water out of the carpets. To which what I used to do, if I had to use a shop vac, I would lightly dampen my carpets, I would shampoo them, or I would scrub them, usually with a drill brush like I showed you earlier. I would take my shop vac them out to the best of my ability, and then I would take towels or microfiber cloths or whatever, because at that point it doesn't really matter in the sense of what type of fabric you're using in this instance. Lay it down onto the carpeted area, and then basically press down on it or step on it or whatever you got to do to help absorb more of that water out of there. If you do that, the best thing I can tell you to do is to do those steps. Soak up what you can with the shop vac. The remaining soak up with a towel or rag or what have you. Once you are done with that aspect of it, before you move on to anything else, set your car out in the sunlight if that's an option for you. Preferably outside in the sun on the hottest day, on a real decent hot day. And when I say hot, I mean anywhere between 70 and 90 degrees or more. I know it has been feeling a lot hotter than 70 to 80 degrees lately. And then turn your heater on full blast and make sure you have the vent selected to floor. That way it's dumping all that heat down there. That heat will help draw that moisture out and leave your carpets nice and dried. Do that for about 10 to 15 minutes, and then afterwards take you a hand scrub brush is what I would recommend doing. So this but nylon, and then just basically brush it across your carpets to help loosen them up to where they're not stiff from being dried out, basically is what I'm getting at. Again, I'm not telling you to do that. Do it at your own risk, because if you don't get all that moisture out of there, it is going to get down beyond your carpet into the sound dampener. The sound dampener usually, at least factory sound dampener, has like a cotton inside of it. and then you're going to create like a mold and mildew issue for yourself. Again, that's why I recommend using a carpet extractor. And even for me, once I get done using a carpet extractor or carpet cleaner, I still prefer to turn on the heat to help draw out the rest of that moisture. So sticking with the theme of using spray bottles, which we already basically just mentioned, you can use a regular hand spray bottle. I'm going to show you what I think is a significantly better solution. I don't know if you actually seen it in the little carpet cleaning short that I did. If you haven't seen that, go back and check it out. I use one of these type of bottles. This is a garden sprayer. It's a pump sprayer is what they refer to it. So you fill it up as high, up to the line, put your soap water, degreaser and water, what have you, and then basically you just pump it up like this, and this little lever right here, you press down, and it just basically, as long as you hold that button down, this is creating pressure with inside this bottle here, and then it will basically spray. And actually, I'll just show you here because I have my nifty little table. I'll try to get you where you can see. I think I have a little bit of soap left in that. So basically, I pumped it up. And you can hear that kind of draining off as it continues there. If you haven't seen it in my recent video I did on the carpet cleaning, you will definitely see it if you go back and look at my window tinting video, which is essentially what I use this for along with carpet cleaning. Another good thing about this is if I press this down, you'll see this little square thing here. It locks it in. And it will continue, you can see it dripping right now. It will continue to allow that to spray, and you don't have to worry about holding that button down. Then you just simply pull back a little bit. That pops your handle up and it will stop spraying, or in this case, leaking. So for the next item that I want to get into, again, they make various sizes of this. I don't have a large one. Depending on your circumstances, these could be a lifesaver for you, or they could just be something that you use very, very little. But it's one of those that if you ever need it, you'll be glad you have it, especially when car care comes into mind. Again, you look back at like my window tinting video, I used this particular one. Does a really phenomenal job, but it also works great for car cleaning, which is just a basic steamer. Steamers are really useful in the sense of car detailing, because you fill it full of water, you plug it in, it heats up, it releases vapor or steam, if you will. And they come with various different attachments, like this one here that's currently on it is more or less just an extension with just a bare end, and it has this little O-ring that I can put different attachments on it. These are phenomenal for a couple of different reasons. One, if I don't have an attachment on it and I leave it open to end it like this, that just shoots out steam. That's great for getting around the back side of the steering columns, in between the steering wheel and the steering column, tight areas. It's phenomenal for using in car vents, around shifter trim. There's just a whole lot of stuff that you can use it for. I have actually even used this particular one on stains and carpets of cars that a shampooer would do it, but it was taking a little bit longer to break it up, so I actually went over it with the steamer first. And that gives you a couple of different options. One, if you don't have a shampooer, and you do happen to have a steamer, you can just steam that. It will loosen all that up, and then you take a microfiber cloth or a towel or what have you, and just kind of basically dampen it at that point. Kind of just pad it up. You kind of see where I'm getting at with that. There's so many different solutions for that is just a phenomenal concept when it comes to what you can use a steamer for. And if you take the combination of a steamer, a shop vac, and a shampooer, you can take the worst carpet in the world and you can make it look darn near brand new. Actually, I don't mean to get off course here, but holy crap, Batman. It is really coming down outside. Not trying to show my neighbor's house or anything, but yeah. It is actually really coming down right now. Anyway, not to get back off of, or not to get off course, but anyway, so getting back to kind of cleaning cars, like as far as chemicals go, that everybody should have, no matter what. If you're going to clean your car, this is stuff that you're going to have. I do use this from time to time on the inside of my windshield, not necessarily on the out, because it does make life a little bit easier for me. There are these things, and it's a nice little reach tool, and the good thing about it is it's actually on a swivel head, so you can get in those hard to get to areas, and what have you, especially on like curved glass like the Toyota and the Nissan have. Those are really inexpensive, but just a little good side tip solution for you. I think the last thing I want, I wish I had one here. I do not have it with me, unfortunately. I think this is a very important thing, and I'm sure there's quite a few of you that have never heard of these. There are actually two different versions of this, and that is what they call a clay bar kit. Now, to simplify what a clay bar kit is, again, there are two different versions of this, but talking more about the original version of it, essentially a clay bar kit, it has a little piece of clay inside of it. It's usually about the size of a bar of soap, and what it's used for is it comes with a speed wax. Essentially is what it is. It's just more or less like a lubricant, if you will. And what you do with it is, say if this is my or speed wax or spray wax, whatever you want to call it, you spray your surface of your car. Like if this was the hood of our car here, we would spray it in a, like kind of mist it over the area. Then you take your bar and you go with the grain of the paint, meaning if it's on the roof, if it's on the hood, the roof, and the trunk of the car, you go front to back, not side to side, front to back, staying with the grain of the paint. And what that does is so if this was the hood of our car, right now, if you listen, that sounds really rough, like sandpaper, and you would feel it. Even on a clear coated hood, like clear coated surface like a hood or something, if you run your hand across it and it feels kind of dry to you, or if it's like hard to pull your hand across it, like you hear that terrible screech sound that everybody hates, you can take that clay bar and that speed wax, you spray that whole surface of it, and you work front to back with that clay bar in small areas. I usually split the hoods and the roofs and all that in half, and I do it in half sections. So I'll do from middle to left and then from middle to right. And essentially when you pick it up, it's gonna have contamination on it. It's gonna probably be black and nasty and disgusting, and what that's doing is essentially getting out all the embedded imperfections that just simply washing your car doesn't do. And then, so once you pick it up, so I'm just going to use this as an example because it just happens to be squared. So if this was my clay bar here, that surface is all dirty and yucky. You take it like clay or Play-Doh, and you fold it up and you work it until you get to a clean surface again. Then you take it front to back, front to back, front to back, and you work that a couple of times. And take your microfiber, wipe it down. And if you do it correctly, and you don't have to apply a lot of pressure to this, if you do this correctly, you could take this bottle and you could set it on your hood. That bottle will not sit there any longer. That bottle will start sliding like this on its own without you touching it, without the wind blowing. anything. If you take a microfiber towel and you toss it on that hood, and you just kind of take it, you just toss it on there, that microfiber towel or rag will start sliding down that hood. Same thing with the roof and the trunk, what have you. It gives you a perfectly clean surface. You will know at the end of it that you have 100% gotten all the imperfections out of your paint. Here's the negative side of this. It's the cost. They average about $30 for this kit. You get one bottle of Speed Wax, and it usually comes with one, maybe 2 bars for the clay bar itself. They are about $30. If you do it correctly and you read the labels, or you watch videos on how to do it, I know there's a lot of videos out there on how to do it. If you do it correctly, that bar and that spray wax will last you a very long time. Let me say this though. At any point, if you clay bar your car and you have that bar, it hits the ground, it is then trash. I don't care what you do to fold it and knead it and get to a clean surface. The likelihood of something that's not going to have a pointed edge, like a stick or a pebble or what have you, of not reaching it back to your hood is almost zero. If you drop a clay bar on the ground, trash it. Which leads me to my little tip of, again, it's about the size of a bar of soap. You do not need that entire clay bar. Take that thing, at most cut it in half. Now you have 2 pieces of clay bar. Take one, save it for later, take one and use it. That way, if you do drop it, you did not just contaminate your entire clay bar. Now, on the flip side of that, there is a new version of it. I have only personally tried one. The one that I had, I absolutely hate it. It did not yield the results of a regular clay bar for me. They now have what they call clay pads. They look exactly like these. It is essentially that it has a certain material on the top that functions the same as a clay bar. Another quick little thing that I will kind of recommend to you, it's something that I recently got. I've only used it one time, and I was not mad at it, which is this. It is a wheel slash inner fender wheel well cleaner, scrubber. I picked this thing up, I think it's about $2 or $3 at a local retailer of mine. And it worked for what I needed it for. It's a lot better than taking a foam pad or something and trying to get inside those fender wells or down in the crevices of wheels and what have you. It does a phenomenal job, so I definitely recommend getting something like that. So yeah, I know that's quite a bit to kind of, it can kind of be overwhelming to a certain degree. That's a lot of information to throw at anybody at one particular time. Again, it's just that's just barely scratching the surface of the automotive cleaning world that's out there. There's a phenomenal amount of car care cleaning products, tools to help you get that job done a lot better. I have used quite a bit of everything that's out there to a certain degree, or some variants of it. Again, I worked in the car care detailing industry for a number of years, for a couple of different companies, some independent self-owned businesses, and then I have also worked for some higher end car companies a long time ago. Anyway, I know that's a lot of information to kind of obtain all at once or absorb. the best thing to do, and I say this to a lot of people all the time. People ask me, well, how do you know about this? Or, um, how do you know how to do this, that, or the third? The key factor is just researching the products that are out there for a certain circumstance that you need, um, like cleaning carpets or trying to do paint correction. Um, Seeing what your options are for not only to get the best result, but also to make your job a lot easier so that you could turn a 4-hour job into a 2-hour job. If you can cut time in half and you're not completely wearing your arm out, or you're not having to exhaust yourself or frustrate yourself on cleaning something or working on something. Um, Again, I know some of the stuff that I mentioned, uh, depending on where you go and where you get it from, it can be quite expensive. But again, if it makes your life a whole lot easier and it gives you the end result that you're looking for, sometimes it's worth it just to spend the money and not necessarily go the cheapest route possible, if that makes sense. Again, I have used everything from bare basic tools like hand scrubbers and doing stuff the hardest way possible, all the way up to having some professional grade tools, and cleaning products and this, that, and the third. I'm telling you, there's always a better way. There's always an easier way to make your life easier and get the results that you want. But yeah, I know that little short I did was kind of, it was kind of vague, but it kind of wasn't. But in a sense, I was just trying to kind of get, I think I covered it in a sense that it got the point across of not necessarily what I was doing, but more about the tools themselves, which is kind of what I was trying to do with that video. It wasn't about step by step on how to clean something. It was more step by step in the tools themselves. Like I would start with this one, then I would go to this one, and then I would use this one. That was kind of the point that I was trying to make with that video. And then again, when it comes to using these tools or using these products, again, researching, watching videos, is key. Reading the instructions is obviously key, but at the end of the day, the reality of it is just like with anything, it's kind of trial by fire. It's just you motivating yourself to get out there, try it, and know that if you do it and you were successful, then you were able to achieve your goal and what you wanted. But also knowing that in the back of your mind, you can't be scared to go out there and try it on the chance that you might fail at it. Trial by fire is the way that I have learned a lot of stuff. In all the years of working on cars or cleaning cars or tinting cars, I'm still not the best at tinting cars. I think I even stated that in that video. I just know the steps and the process to do it. That just doesn't mean that it's going to come with the best results. But just getting out there and trying, that's kind of the most important thing. I think it's always good to learn something on your own or experience something on your own versus just paying somebody else to do it all the time. I think the best quote that I ever heard and learned, there's an entire quote to it. I don't remember the whole thing, but basically it's a jack of all trades and a master of none is better than the master of one, if that makes sense. I might have butchered that quote a little bit, but that's kind of where I'm at. I do a lot of little different things. I work on my own cars. I clean my own cars. I do a lot of fabrication work. I do this, that, and the third. and you can watch videos on it all you want, which is 100% better than the way that I had growing up, which basically was just get out there and do it and hope you didn't destroy it. And if you did do it, that you knew how to put it back together, or you figured out how to put it back together. Videos are very informative. They help a lot of people out. It at least gives you a basic understanding of what you're doing. But the reality is you just got to get out there and you just got to get at it. Get after it, get it done, and you'll be a whole lot happier in the end, knowing that you were able to achieve it on your own versus having somebody else do it for you. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Again, I know that was a lot to kind of throw at you all at once. But that's it for this video. As always, like, share, and subscribe. Comments, notifications, all that good jazz. And I'll see you guys in the next one.